Welcome to the Love Government. I'm Dennis Leary, and I'm speaking on behalf of the Love Government. We are doing a series of videos, and we are now on the 5th video. The 5th video is called 5, and this is the Lover card. It's number 5 in this total system, this total view of a love house, a house of cards, a structure that we're taking a journey through. We are now on the first column of the temple, if you want to look at it that way, the first suit of the game, the first leg of the journey. And this is card number 5, which fits in here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we have the part and the whole. The card is the part, and this is the whole picture. But this itself, this whole system fits into a bigger picture and a bigger picture. So you can go to the website, or you can go to the, and in the website there's a book in which all of this information is more clearly spelled out. These are tarot cards. You can buy these in a store for about $20. We are interpreting the tarot cards as love cards. The message of the tarot cards is love. Tarot means to love. Nobody knows where the word tarot came from, but we interpret it as to love, in the sense of, there's 3 different senses. Roe is ROE is a female deer, making love. In heat, making love. To put things in rows is an act of love. Getting your life in order is an act of love. And rowing a boat is a very ancient symbol of making love. Oars in the water, rocking and rolling, etc., etc. So these are sex cards. Sexuality is being portrayed here as I interpret them. So it's number 5, and it divides into 2 sides. These cards have 2 sides, as life has 2 sides. The major arcana looks like this: a black sky with stars. Or this. This is the negative side, the back side of this. So life has 2 sides. And if you go straight and narrow down the middle, you have to know both sides. That's why we have 2 eyes. We can get a perspective on things. We have peripheral vision with our 2 eyes, and yet the 2 eyes are focused, for the most part, straight down the center. So in the Love Government, we take the narrow path straight down the center, but we have focus on both sides. So we focused on these 2 cards here. Well, here's only 1 card, but the minor arcana, there are 2. So the 2 sides are star and stone. Star and stone, star and stone. And these cards flip like this between the 2 sides. So we are stars. Stars of love. Because we have 5 extensions like a star. Like I have 2 arms, 2 legs, and the head make a 5 extensions. And the hand is 5 extensions. As I said before, the clitoris has 5 extensions. So these things all play off of each other. And here the lover, that's her name, the lover, who, by the way, is all of us together as lovers. She's a compound symbol, an abstraction, but more than an abstraction, but we kind of, instead of going through all the names in the list, you make a common denominator. So that's what we're saying with a lover. It's all of us as lovers. We're not separated. We're together, but there's a difference. So she's portraying her act of love. This is an action of love. And these actions were reenacted in the love culture. We don't do that in our culture, which is one of the reasons we're in problems. We're not reenacting love. We're reenacting other things. Power, money, putting on an act, reenacting all the time. But in the love culture, they reenacted the lover. They had their myths of how the lover created everything through her body. Everything is a lover's body. But in the creation myths of the love culture, it was a natural thing. Not like in the patriarchal origin myths. It's very artificial and unnatural. In the Bible, for example, God creates with his head, not with his sexual center down here. Well, God is a man, for one thing, so he doesn't have one of these. But in the rewrite of the natural way of telling things, things came through the woman's body, through her sexual center, from between her legs, through her vulva, from her uterus, through her vulva, through her vagina. It's all natural. See, that's the way. But patriarchy doesn't like that. They don't trust what's below the belt. They think it's woman's territory, and they distrust women. These are the patriarchal men who rebelled against that system. So the lover is portraying a natural sexual act. She's nourishing the world through her body, which is feminine. And the picture shows that. Two red pitchers, water pouring through two red pitchers onto the body of water, onto the land, in one case, and there's a star here, there's an 8-pointed star, 7 stars in the background, so the 7 stars are infinity of stars. You know how many stars there are? Billions and billions. So all of that energy from the star power, all of that energy, the billions and billions of stars and galaxies and nebula, is focused now into one star, and that is the lover. This love is focused, and it comes through her body. In her, she nourishes the earth through her menstruation, first of all. Those that are represented by the red pitchers. That's her blood flows through her body. And then the water also, blood and water, flows through her body. The water is the water that comes through her vulva, especially the waters of ejaculation when she's having sex, if she does ejaculate. And she's naked, which is a love-making mode. We take our clothes off when we make love, usually, or some of them. And this is the way she nourishes the world. Through sex, through love, sex. Nourishes the world. And the love culture reenacted that. Reenacted. That's why it was sacred sex. Because they had their big story was of the lover giving birth to the world, giving birth to babies, giving birth to everything, all the vegetation, through her body, through her blood and her water. Now the patriarchy explanation is for these things is all mixed up and confused, but it's forced upon us, So as I said at the beginning, to say, God creates through his head. God speaks, and then creation comes out of his mouth, so to speak. God said, let there be light. God said, let there be a world. God said, let there be a firmament, etc., etc. It comes out of his head, not out of the vagina here. It's a male thing in the head. And in the pagan myths, Athena, for example, was a virgin, one of the gods worshipped by the Greeks and the Romans. Athena came out of Zeus's head. Can you imagine that? How artificial that is. And she was a great goddess. She came out of Zeus's head, fully clothed in armor, because she was a goddess of war, too. So the stories of patriarchal men, have been rewrites of something that went before. They rewrote her story with his story. Why did they do that? Out of power needs. They want to be the people in power, and they want to destroy the other culture. They're anti-lovers. They rebelled against the other system, and they became killers. And they became the leaders and the elites of society. But the love government is pointing out this story because it wasn't meant that way. It wasn't meant to be that way. And that's the big story. versus the big lie. That's the big truth versus the big lie. And so this card portrays that. It's called the star card, by the way. So love is the star of all stars. Portrayed by the sun star, by the way. The sun is out here. Rather than filming here, the sun is out. That's a star. That's our star. And there's billions and billions of stars. But you know, the stars are not really where it's at. Where the action is really taking place for us, as far as we're concerned, is right here on this earth. That's why I make a big deal out of these models, these contrasting models of this is a pyramid, a male pyramid scheme. And this is a feminine pyramid triangle. And it's not a scheme at all. It's reality. This is reality, because this type of a triangle points down, and it's resting in the center of the earth. If you can imagine that, a very big triangle. If the point of the triangle, the downward point, is resting in the very center of the earth, then up here, this is the triangle resting in the center of the earth, up here is the surface. It's about 3,000 miles, wide, like from the west coast to the east coast of the United States. That's the surface of the earth. And then, 5 or 6, 7,000 miles down is the center. That's a big, big triangle. And the significance is, as a model of reality, is that on the surface of it, which is slightly rounded, here we walk on the surface safely. We don't have to worry about falling off or climbing up to the top of this kind of a pyramid as a model. Talking model here. Or overall structure or worldview. This model is artificial. It's imposed by power and force, fraud and coercion. And it's crushing those at the bottom, and then those people want to crawl their way to the top, get to the top, get the most money, get the most power, while you can get it while you can. That's this model of a pyramid, way out of order. This is the model that we're following, and this model is rooted in the pelvic region of a woman. That's where life comes out. That's where life goes in, with sexuality, in and out of her center. It's really important to understand the big picture, the deep understanding, or we're never going to make significant changes, which we need to make. And that's why I keep saying it, sex is where it's at. We've got to understand the true story of sex, which is her story, not his story. His story is one big lie from the father of lies. And these cards are going to help us, not only this card, but all of the cards are going to help us. When you put them all together, it's going to tell a wonderful story, a true story of love, and a healthy story of sex. So I'll sign off again with a love sign, which is love, love, may you have love. And all the sisterly virtues that go with it. Thank you.